Okay, so for today, we're going to draw a quote. And this quote comes from the Harry Potter books, one of my very favorite characters, very wise, Albus Dumbledore. And I think this is a really great one for right now, as we're all feeling a little bit discombobbled, everything's different. But I love this quote for the feeling of hope that it provides. So we're going to do some different lettering. I want you to find first sort of the middle of your page. So from top to bottom and side to side, thinking you can even draw it in lightly with a pencil, just kind of a half of each, so half vertically and half horizontally. And then I want you to take either a black marker or you can use your pencil. And I want you to write just on this side of the middle, I want you to write in capital letters the word if. And then just on this side of the middle, I want you to write the word one. So O-N-E, like that. And then we're going to make these letters a little bit more special. So we're going to put a little line right beside the I and then put what's called feet and a cap on there. And then we're going to add what are called serifs. So these are those little ticks that are on some letters. And over here on the O, we're just going to add a little bit in there. And we're going to add a little bit in the N and put those little serifs on there. And then on the E, we're just going to add some little serifs on there as well. It just makes them a little bit more fancy. It makes certain things stand out. Then beside the word one, we're going to write the word only, all in caps. Make them kind of skinny. So O-N-L-Y. You're going to see how this is going to build into a bigger poster in a minute. On the left side of the word if, we're going to write the word times. And we're going to actually use really skinny caps letters, and actually the line that we made is going right through the center of them. Okay, and you'll have to print kind of small there. And then on the other side of times, so to the left, we're going to leave a little space, and you can either do the F first and then the O, or you can do the OF if you think you can leave a space in there. So just go really slowly on this first part. Now, directly below that, we're going to actually write in cursive. And if you don't know how to write in cursive, I'll go nice and slow and you can take a look. But we're actually going to start right about where that T is, and we're going to go all the way to this O. So it's going to kind of position it right underneath. And we're going to write the word remembers. And it goes like this. So the R comes up like this. E, M, E, M. M's the hard one because it's 3 bumps. And then up, and we're just going to go up like that and just come down and make a B like this. It just makes it a little bit easier to read because normally a cursive B is a funny looking kind of loop with a bump. So we're going to keep the B like that, and we're going to do E, R, S. If you've never done cursive before, which some of you may not have, it's not too hard. It's all a bunch of connected letters. The S is a little bit different. The R is a little bit different. Now what we're going to do is come in and just add a little bit of second lines on a few of these letters just to give them a little bit more personality. The E, I'm going to put another little section on that R there. And there's the word remembers. Now, directly above where we have the F, we're going to write in fairly large letters between here and here. We're going to write the word darkest. And I want you to think about these uppercase letters as sort of having, like being tall and skinny, but the lines might be in slightly different places than you'd normally do it. So I want you to start right about here and do that straight line down for the D and come right back up and make the A. A is next. Now, when you cross the A, rather than crossing it up here, try crossing it down here. Just gives you like that look of a different font. And then come up to that middle line and do your R, the stick for your R. And instead of doing sort of the R coming around midway, make it skinny at the top, and then a nice long line down. The K, the same thing. We're going to put the little V of the K really high up. See how it's starting to look like a different font than the one that we did here? All we have to do is kind of modify things, and that really changes the way that a font looks. A nice skinny E, nice skinny S. So put a little loop up here, then come down like a slide, and a little loop down there. So trying to make all of these letters almost like there's imaginary lines there and there. And then we're going to put a small skinny T right here. Okay, so darkest. Now, we're going to have to crunch a bunch of letters right in here. So we're going to actually leave that for now. And above the word, or above the D, so directly above the D, in lowercase letters, we're going to write the word B-E. Not too big. We want to make sure we still have a big band up here where there's nothing, because we're going to put one big word across here. So a little B, leave a little space in here, and then make a lowercase f, O-U-N-D. There's the word found. And then just to the left of B, we're going to write the word can. But to space it out properly, I'm going to leave a little space, and I'm going to actually do the N first. Lowercase n, lowercase a, lowercase c. Okay, that allows us to kind of make them all about the same size, and it orients it to in the middle. Then we're going to come up and we're going to write the word happiness right across here. So thinking about leaving a little space here and a little space here. Now, in fact, the letter that should be right in the center, and if you want to add it first, is a capital I, and it's going to go right here where we put that center line, okay? And then we can put an N on this side. If you want the letters to curve up, you can. E here, so we're doing the nest part of happiness, and then 2 S's. I'm just going to put a little curve on that one. Same, just to give it a little bit of interest. And then I'm going to go back and put the rest of the word in, the word happy part here, but we're actually going to build it backwards so that we can fix the spacing. So we're going to put a P here. I'm doing the curve first so I leave enough space. We're going to put another P in here, right? And then we're going to do an A, but it's going to be a nice skinny A that's going to kind of come down under that P. And then we're going to build the H beside it. And it can be kind of fitting in there beside that. Okay. Happiness can be found. Now we need these little words in here. So this is a bit tricky. So what we're going to do is really in skinny letters, we're going to write the word even. So lowercase, but we're going to make it super skinny like this. E-V-E-N. And then we're going to do a little word beside it. So a little space, and then I-N, very skinny. And then right underneath here, we're actually going to write the word the, but we're going to write it backwards. So it's going to be E-H-T. Okay, so happiness can be found even in the darkest of times if one only remembers. Now, in this big space right here, so almost to that halfway mark. So here's my mark. We want to go just to the left of this. We're actually going to make this word about this big. So it's actually, we're only leaving a bit on the bottom, and that's where we're going to write the word Albus Dumbledore. So I want you to kind of take up this space with the word light. So I'm going to come down with my marker, and I'm going to make the L. I'm going to put a little curve on it. And then I'm going to come into the I. And the I is actually touching this line that we first put in here. And we're going to come around. But I'm not going to connect the G. I'm just going to go like this and come around and come up with the G. And then put a big tail on it. But I'm not going to connect it to the next letter. Then I'm going to start an H. And I'm going to come up on a loop. Come back down to the bottom. Put an H. And then I'm going to come up with the T and come back down and put a tail on the T. I'm going to put the cross on the T right up here. And then instead of putting just a circle to dot the I, I'm going to actually make a little star. Now you can do it one of two ways. So You can make the typical star that crosses over each other, or you can make kind of an interesting star. So you start out with just a little V on the top, it's upside down V, and then put one on this side, one on this side, and then one sort of to the side and one sort of to the side there, and then we've got a star. It doesn't have to be a perfect star. It can be a little bit wonky. It actually looks better if it's a little bit wonky. And now we need to put the last couple of words in here, and these are going to be written in uppercase but very small, similar to what we did up here. And we're going to do to, and then a space, turn, on the, okay, well, probably should have made that a little bit more spacey in there, but that's okay. Then I want you to draw like a, almost like a rainbow that goes down a little bit more curved in here, and then come down like this. You can probably guess what we're drawing here. Come right across here with one line, and we're going to go like this, and like this, and like this 3 times, and put a little blob on the bottom. Now this is going to be an old-fashioned kind of incandescent bulb, but you could put a squiggle in here or whatever you want to do. Some people would bring it up and make a V shape here. If you wanted to, you can do that. It's up to you, or you can make, you know, the curly kind that's in the of light bulbs. It's entirely up to you. Now down here, because we want to attribute the quote to the person who said it, it's the character of Albus Dumbledore, and so we're going to use nice skinny lettering here. You can choose whether you use upper or lowercase. I'm going to use lowercase here. Just nice and tidy, as if there's an imaginary line. Sometimes I will draw little lines in here so that I know where I'm going. And I want to start Dumbledore a little bit offset here. You see, I'm doing very skinny lettering. Albus Dumbledore. Now we want to add a few little pieces in here to make it kind of decorative. So I'm just going to add some tiny stars in here, like almost magical, of course. I'm going to add a little star in here. You can add little tiny crosses in here, little tiny crisscross stars if you want. I'm going to add one up here too, just so it looks like it's kind of sparkling a little bit. And then I could come in with either pencil crayon or a bit of marker. I actually have these really cool paints. These are actually made in Manitoulin Island from pigments that and they're all handmade by an Indigenous artist. So they're really cool. They're called bean paints, but I'm just going to add a little bit of color in this light bulb and maybe a touch of color on here just to add a little bit of interest. Now I can also come in here with other colors if I wanted to. I have this actually really brilliant kind of magenta color that I'll use, and if I wanted to, I could fill in some of my letters if I want. The O's are really nice when they're filled in, or you could take a look at a couple of them, a couple of the filling in kind of letters, and just add a little bit of color. I like watercolors because you can go over top of the Sharpie and it actually still shows through and it doesn't run and it kind of gives you that translucent look. So I could certainly come in with other colors, and I can highlight certain sections of the words if I wanted to. This is actually a lovely blue, and I'm going to keep it really light. I'm going to add a little bit of color just, and sometimes we can come over it like almost like a highlighter. I'll show you, I'm just using this blue right here, and I can come over certain words that I want to maybe highlight. Maybe I just want to highlight the word on here. I can just come on there, it'll dry more translucent. I can always put my finger there. But you could add all kinds of things. You could come back if you wanted to. I have gold paint, which is really special. but you could come in with yellow or you could come in with anything else, and I could add just little bits of color in here if I wanted to as well. Right over top. It doesn't have to be painted perfectly. You're just adding like a hint of color in there. All right, so I hope you enjoyed the message, and I hope that you also enjoy a different kind of way of making art.